All right, here we are. We're on live. What do you have to
Yeah.
say about this?
Let's have a great time.
All right, so we're going to still work on the technical abilities in the background, reversing our signs, getting more ability. We set everything up for what was that, a meme? No, what was it?
Meme? I don't know. A meme?
No, the character that we had all ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
And then we realized we're on the wrong platform. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something that is really unfortunately affecting all of us in the United States right now. And it's laws that are being voted in that are forcing you to pay for somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's not just today, it's for generation after generation. So let's go ahead and pull on to the next tab there. We're going to go through these tabs while it's live, and we'll put some of the links below that people might want to go to, especially the Open the Books link will be at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one we're starting here is laws that force you to pay for them. Now, this is a concept of maybe Robin Hood, right? Take from the rich and give to the poor.
Yeah.
Or it's a concept of socialism where you kind of even out the curve and everybody has the same basic money. And one of the common places that we see that is in Cuba, where they've socialized the country, and a doctor may make the same as a taxi driver on paper. But that's still not fair, because what does the taxi driver get that the doctor doesn't?
A car?
Okay. Tips.
Oh, tips.
And tips can make it so that a taxi driver and pushing them down, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what I have here on the first one. And I think this is a link that we can post later as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what I have here on the first one. And I think this is a link that we can post later as well. So I wanted to look at candy.
Yeah.
Okay, so scroll up a little bit on this one. Candy prices over the years. So what this is looking at is what the price of a candy bar cost not so long ago. So here, this article is candywrapperarchive.com. Can you see that? Candy wrapper? So let's look in 1900 and 1904, how much was the candy size?
The candy size 0.5 ounces.
Can we put this link in the chat?
Yeah.
The overview.
There's no chat.
Okay, so that's not on right now. That's fine. We're live. We'll keep rolling with it, but we can put it in the description afterwards. So if you scroll up a little bit, it's looking at candy wrapper archives and what the price of candy has been over the years. So go ahead and scroll down a little bit, please. Okay, so 1900s, the average candy bar size was half an ounce.
Yeah, half an
and
ounce.
it cost how much?
What's 1 cent? Cost per ounce 2 cents. Stamp price cents 2 cents, and then they gave more pounds, and that makes sense since it's
so over the years it looks like it's increased the ounces quite a bit, huh? So let's go down to where we're at today. Let's see how close it'll get us here. Well, here it goes to 2009. It went from half an ounce to a little over an ounce and a half, 1.6 ounces. And how much and a half? 1.6 ounces. And how much is it?
And it is for what?
$1.10 for the candy bar.
50 cost per ounce. A dollar
per ounce was 50 cents, but it was $1.10 for the bar. And then it says, let's look to the future. So we can see that this came out in 2009. In 2015, to them was the future. So that same candy bar that was a penny would be $1.30. And by 2020, $1.50. By 2050, $3.25. Boy, they messed that one up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because candy bars actually skipped quite a bit. And here in California, they went from 99 cents to for $1. They stayed in this arena, and that's pretty comparable. And then they zipped up really, really fast. Here they're thinking by the year 2100, it would be $11.75 for the same candy bar that you paid a penny for.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be a lot bigger though for that price?
Yes. No. Well, most likely. Well, you would think, but most likely not.
Actually, they probably, it's shrinkflation. They're getting smaller. We're going to talk about that, huh? So exceptions to the rule. Go ahead and read that paragraph. Candy bars.
The retail price of candy must always rise with inflation. This is given. However, you don't always have to pay retail. You can always buy wholesale in bulk or sale use coupons. In May 2019, I bought my specialty marked candy bars, 2 for $1, Butterfinger and Baby Ruth. It was nice because I was really paying the retail value of 14 years ago. I also remember in the mid 1990s buying candy on sale for $4 for $1. That's also a retail value of about 15 years prior. You may not always be able to know 15 years or more off the price, but it's nice when you do.
Yeah, so there's always opportunities for deals is what they're telling us on candywrapperarchive.com.
Yeah.
Is what he's sharing with us. But what he is saying is over time, the same item is going to cost more and more. Is it actually worth more?
No.
And what we've seen is for a long time, McDonald's had a special, be a dollionaire. What was that? A dollaraire. Like instead of a millionaire, only spend $1 on it. So they were promoting $1 for everything. And then we saw Safeway push. Everybody just spent $5 on this and $5 Friday and $5. And they had the red sticker with the $5 on it. So they were setting your mind to everything moving from $1 pricing to $5 pricing. But now when you go to the store, most things are now with a baseline price of $15. If you go to a restaurant, your food typically starts at $15. You go to buy an item, it's typically around, even if it's not worth $15, because of the inflation and the price changes that we're dealing with in the United States. So if anybody wants to see what their candy bar would have cost 15 years ago, this is a neat place to look. But let's move forward. What's the next thing we have on the list here? So we're talking about laws brought in by lawmakers who were learning we didn't necessarily vote in.
Shrink inflation. Products that gets
an example of shrinkflation.
You make it so instead of to my understanding of it, I think it means it's basically inflation, but opposite of inflation.
Okay, that's good. So what happens is the item might be the same price. It might be $1 for a candy bar, but the candy bar is actually smaller for that $1. We see that a lot with ice cream. That's been a big one over the years. You get a gallon container of ice cream, and now it's maybe 1 pint, and it's actually not the same price. It's increased price quite a bit. And the chemicals they put inside, yes, I said chemicals, not ingredients, are not the same quality.
No.
So you're getting hit on all levels. And here it's saying, as of yesterday night, the people in Britain are boycotting it. They're just not buying the products anymore. Well, we kind of do that, don't we? We try to grow what we can. We buy the ingredients and make it ourselves and do all we can to not go after name brand or packaged products because of this.
Yes.
And we also stocked up a year ago and heeded the warnings. When people said, hey, inflation's going to hit us, did we put our heads in the sand? What did we do? What did we fill our garage with?
Toilet paper and food. Toilet paper, food,
Yep, lots of food. And a lot of the food quality, because it lasts a long time, I kept saying, I hope we never have to eat it. The reality is we're already digging into it now, huh? Because inflation is so high. Okay, what's the next tab? So the next one is, what's this say?
That the DEI definitions, diversity, equality, and inclusion Diversity refers to all aspects of human difference, social identities, and social groups. Differences including but not limited race, ethnicity, creed.
Yeah. So one of the ways that the government is trying to fight inflation and this depression that we're in, even though they want to change the way that is titled from recession to depression, they're saying it's just a slowdown and it's speeding up. Well, it hasn't sped up in the last year since they made that. It's actually slowing down even more, and we're getting more job losses. But one of the ways they're doing this is DEI programs to take from the rich and give to the poor.
Yeah.
And this isn't the ultra rich. This is the middle class. They're getting rid of the middle class and flattening them out into the poor. So let's, to make them poor to be part of the lower class. So let's go to the next tab. So what's this one say? This was on Fox News, and this was put out. The date was May 17th. So about 3 weeks ago. What's it say here?
It says that California slammed unbelievable proposals to pay unemployed migrants. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so here's another way that the laws are changing, and laws just don't get up and change one day. Somebody has to come with a proposal. They get in a committee, they put together a bill. If the bill passes, it becomes law. So there's a lot of stages and a lot of encouragement along the way.
Yes.
A lot of signatures, people buying off, and a lot of ways for it to just go away. But in this case, California lawmakers are deciding that even if people are here illegally, which by illegal, that means that they don't have the right to work in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's other parameters as well, but that's one of the ramifications, because if you don't have the right to work documents, and without that, nobody should be able to hire you. Although under this administration, that's been curtailed, as they've stated that ICE won't go after those. There have been raids on businesses in the past when they've noted that there's people there that don't have a right to work in this country. Why do you think a government would limit the right to work in a country?
They want us to fail.
Well, us to limit the right to work is actually a way to get us to succeed. It's kind of the opposite.
What?
Yeah, exactly. What? So if I am born here, then I should have a priority of a right to work here, because I get educated here, I build my community here, I pay taxes here, I'm part of these. You allow immigrants in the country to work based on certain criteria. If there aren't anybody in the local community that are able to do this, or nationwide, they can't find anybody with a specialized skill, then you bring somebody else in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But you're protecting the local jobs. Now, if you were to get up and go to another country, you don't get a job. You don't have a right to work. I don't know one country on this planet where you would be able to get a job and work. Because I've lived around in different countries.
How about Ohio?
That's in the United States.
Oh.
And so that's a good guess, though. But so the governments limit this to make sure that those that are there are productive. And then they maybe drip in additional individuals in order to give them opportunities as well. But you still have to have the core base paying the taxes, or you don't have a tax program to support those who aren't paying taxes. Mm-hmm. So what does this say right here? What did California slamming? They say this is just unbelievable.
That California slammed unbelievable proposal to pay unemployed migrants. Doesn't make any sense.
Correct. So we have an unemployment system in California, and the unemployment system is there for people who are working, they're doing the best they can, and for some reason other than their own, they lost their job. But if you work for an organization that decided they didn't want to pay into this unemployment, you don't know that. The money could have been taken out of your paycheck every week, and yet when you go to file unemployment, they're going to say, sorry, you worked hard. We see proof that you worked, but you know what? They didn't pay into the program, so later. And that means you don't get assistance with food. You don't get assistance with looking for another job. You don't get retraining opportunities, even though they may have stole the money, kept the money.
Yeah.
So in this case, if you are illegal or you don't have a right to work here, then you haven't paid into the system.
Yeah.
So how do you get to participate in the system that somebody here doesn't get to participate in if their employer lied? But here an immigrant can just show a piece of paper that says, yes, I worked, and then they can get $300 a week times 4 weeks. That's $1,200 a month to sit home and do nothing. When you come to this country too?
Yeah.
So Californians are saying, what? This isn't free. You're taking from my paycheck to put into an unemployed insurance program, and you're giving it to people who, one, are taking my jobs, two, don't have a right to be here, and three, haven't paid into the system.
Yeah.
So again, the laws are changing, forcing you to pay for them. And although you and them should be the same because we're all humanity, it's part of the divisive structure. So if we look back at the tab right before this, when you're looking at diversity, equity, and inclusiveness, they're trying to take a step to make things more equal, but in fact, they're stealing from one group and giving to another. And it's a quiet or a soft steal, because it's not like you're going in and reaching in somebody's pocket.
No.
But you're taking it right out of their paycheck or right out of their bank.
Yeah.
And many people don't realize this level of reassortment of the cash flow. Okay, what's the next tab? We can skip that one because we did. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so what does this say?
Homeless hotels, San Francisco, COVID.
Okay, and what does the paragraph there say?
Shelter in place, SIP hotel program supports individuals experiencing homelessness in San Francisco who are at increased risk for severe illness from COVID-19 and following guidelines from the San Francisco Department of Public Health, SFDPH, to shelter in place, maintain physical, mitigate the...
Good. So this was on sfgov.org if anybody wants to go there for the reference. San Francisco, sfgov.org. And it was their shelter-in-place hotel program. So what they did is they told the community, stop traveling. Nobody travel. You cannot stay in these hotels in San Francisco. It's very unsafe. And then what they did is they went ahead and took the homeless off the streets and put them in the nice hotels. Does that make sense?
No.
So if you're a hardworking person and you want to, New York is doing it right now with migrants. If you want to go to New York City, let's say, and you want to stay in a hotel, the windows are covered and you can't get in because it's for people who you're paying for. Hotel rooms in New York are often $400 or $500 a night. If you can get one, it's very hard to travel into the city because it's very expensive. So what they're doing is they're putting they're putting up people who don't have a right to be here, and they're taking taxpayer money to pay for those hotel programs.
Yeah.
So you work hard, you earn money, and they take money out of your paycheck to put people on vacation.
Yeah.
So where's your vacation?
I don't know. Give me some vacation.
Okay, what's the next tab? So again, these are laws that are being made that make you pay for someone else. Yes. Low-income apartments. If you're middle class, you typically don't qualify for housing assistance. But if you're lower income, then you can apply for priority housing, rental assistance, food benefits. There's whole packages you can get. So if you look at the amount of money that you're saving by having all these things provided to you, it's actually taking one category who thinks that they're earning more and pushes them down and lifts up another group that is not working to that level or doesn't have that earning potential. So it's leveling the curve and it's getting rid of the middle class. So let's go to the next one there. Okay, and here we have U.S. News and World Report. They say, where do I fall in the American economic class system? So what does it say there in the bold?
It says, from the data, they split earners into different classes: poor, lower middle class, upper middle class, and wealthy.
Okay, and so they have already decided, meaning governments around the world, who will fit into which category. And they've decided there's a poor, there's a lower middle class. They're not calling it lower income here. They're calling it lower middle class. And then they're calling it middle class because they don't want to tell anybody they're lower, right? So they're just changing the names or the labels. Upper middle class and wealthy. Well, they're squishing the middle class right out of the sandwich. So you're going to have poor and wealthy. As everything's moved. During the last few years of lockdowns, we saw the biggest realignment of wealth ever on this planet. As people got locked in their homes and lost their jobs, more billionaires were made. Okay, what's the next tab? So this one is the World Development Organization. So this is WHO, for those who know it. And the data is looking at income. What does it say? Method of estimation. What does that say there?
World Development Indicators Database. Low income is $1,000 $1,044.
Yeah, is that a day, a month, a year?
Middle.
They're not telling you there, but based on the data and an income level defined by GNI per capita, then we're going to assume that that's annual.
Hold up, is that just me? Or do I just see low income is basically the same as middle income?
They're doing a range. So anything from $1,000 or less or $1,000 or more.
Oh.
That per house. So just for the right to have a home in this area, your property taxes are more money than that. And that's considered high income according to the WHO. So it tells you, again, they're flattening the curve. There's a lot of places on this planet where they don't have the government manipulation that isn't causing the inflation on this level, which is why a lot of people in this area, though, are living in RVs. They're not paying property taxes. They're not paying for sewer or garbage or any of these fees that are tied to an address that have to get paid whether or not, but they get to right to vote in additional programs for themselves.
Yes.
That we then pay for. Okay, go ahead and click on the next one. So these are some list of expenses that households go through. Can you just read each category there?
So the list of monthly household expensive: insurance, health insurance, vehicle insurance, housing, grocery store, costs, utilities, childcare, and rent.
Okay, so if those are all the ways.
No.
Well,
and then property tax, home insurance, pet, vehicle, home, cell phone, personal care, mortgage, vehicle, food.
Good. So if you were going to make a list, this would be a good site to go to. It's called household.expenses. Oh, no, what is it? It's household expenses list. I don't see the...
Just search up household expenses list, and then it says list of monthly household. It's going to come up like this, but then it says 11 more, and then you can see the full.
Good. So what you would do is you would create a budget with each of those categories, and you'd get an idea of how much you spend on a monthly basis. And then you know how much you need to earn each month in order to cover those. And if you don't earn enough money to cover those, then you're in debt, right? You got to cut it out. and you can cut down so bare. So we have basic internet, but we don't have cable TV. We
No.
have a basic phone, but we don't have anything beyond the basic phone plan.
No.
We make our own food instead of eating out in restaurants. We do all we can to live within our means.
Yes.
And we only spend the money that we have each month.
Mhm.
If something is more money than we have, then we don't buy it.
Mhm.
Although they have credit cards, we don't do that. So if each of these categories establish how much money that you need to spend each month, what happens if the government comes into every single one of these categories and helps you out because you don't make enough money?
Mhm.
That would be nice help, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe for a month or two while you lost your job and you're trying to get another job just to make sure that you don't lose your home. That would be helpful. But then if you look at every single category, there's different government aids for utilities. You can ask them to pay your utility bill. Housing, you can get help with low-income housing and pay just a little bit, or have them even buy your RV for you, as we saw here.
Yeah.
Health insurance, mandatory programs, they can pay your health insurance. But it's not free. If we look at health insurance, on the flip side of that, health insurance isn't being provided for free. Somebody is paying more for that insurance so that you can pay less. And in fact, it's mandatory in California still, even though the federal government passed Obamacare and rescinded it. California said, no, we're still going to run with that. So if in fact you don't have enough money to buy health insurance, at the end of the year, you have to pay a penalty for not having health insurance. How does that make sense?
It does not make sense at all.
And the penalty is often between $7,000 and $12,000. So it's a lot of money that people are getting penalized in order to support universal health care, meaning everybody can have it. It's not free. Somebody at one level is paying for somebody at another. Thus, laws are being passed to force you to pay for them.
Yes.
And so as all of these categories get taken care, you can apply for a new car. They did subsidies for electric vehicles. They did subsidies for turning in your car.
Mhm.
If otherwise it gets so old that they just junk it. And so they put more and more here. All of a sudden, if you add up all that money, your income might be X dollars, but you add on all these benefits you're getting, and pretty soon you can get boosted into a higher income bracket. And then if you're a wise and you know how to manipulate up to easily $50,000 in benefits. So now your income on paper would actually be maybe $130,000, $140,000, even though you're only paying taxes on $28,000 and using that to get more money.
Mhm.
So did you see the call when they said nobody wants to work anymore?
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. A lot of people still want to work. But the problem is all of a sudden the rules changed and we were being really treated disrespectfully.
Yes.
It wasn't just a matter of showing up and earning a spot and being promoted or even getting paid. For many of us, we worked and didn't even get a paycheck. And so a lot of people just decided they were going to retire or quit or just do something else. But if you're working hard and you're going into work every single day and earning $48,000 a year, but somebody is earning only $28,000, but because that gets all these benefits, they're actually living a much better lifestyle than you are because they can have better housing. They can have all these benefits. Let's look forward now to the next one. So we looked at income and now we're looking at expenses. What's the next one here? So here we have back to where we started.
Based on proposals currently under consideration, residents who make more than $180,000 a year could pay about $500 more annually on the electric bills, while Californians who make less than $28,000 annually could save up $300 a year.
So typically, if you turn on a light, you pay for the usage of that electricity to turn on that light. And then you burn out the bulb, you pay for that bulb. Well, they give out free bulbs now. So you don't, and they have for, 10 or 12 years, maybe even a little longer now.
They give free bulbs?
They'll give free bulbs. So now they've taken that away. They've taken somebody else to pay for your bulbs. Now they're saying that, you know what, it doesn't matter if you turn on your light or not. In fact, it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire that has 5 properties and you don't use this residence, you're going to pay even more, $500 more a year, even if you don't use this particular home, because there's people in your neighborhood who don't make as much money and you should pay for their electricity. So these laws are being put in to make you pay for them. Why would you want to keep working harder if you're going to pay for everybody?
You wouldn't.
And on the flip side, why would you work if people are going to pay for you?
You wouldn't.
And the minute that you get yourself out of that $28,000 a year a job as the example and boost yourself up to $180,000 a year as is stated here, all of a sudden you're now being penalized and you're paying for somebody else.
Yeah.
And you're paying taxes on the money you get too. So $180,000 income after taxes alone, that brings you down to probably about $120,000. So right off the top, the government takes that, and then you're getting taxed in every direction that you're trying to conserve. So if you are is somebody here illegally and they put you qualify for low income because you can't work, then they can give you $300 a week in unemployment. They give you an EBT card for food benefits. They put you up in housing project, and which is not even a project anymore, in housing, nice apartments, and they pay for that. So now you have all your basics met. Then you apply for a car because you got extra money. You're working under the table. And so you can buy a very nice car through the government programs. And then what is the differentiating factor between people who earn money and who don't? Is education, right? Why do people get educated?
Why people get educated is to get smart and get a good job and
better job,
money.
Better income, right?
Yes.
So let's move forward on that too. What's the next one here? What's this one say?